At this point, as we head into the overnight session and tomorrow, so we can see that we got this false breakdown, which took us back up to the recent highs, and now the question is going to be, are we actually going to hold above the recent highs? Because the move started all the way down here, so by the time it got up there and tried breaking out, it was now overextended, it was exhausted, which would make a breakout above 39.5 more prone to a pullback, if not a failure. So now as we head into tomorrow, the main question is going to be, are buyers able to maintain the control that we saw today? Because the long side was perfect today. It does not necessarily mean that tomorrow has to be the same. So it's really going to depend on whether we are able to maintain now the strength from today. So on the downside, we can use the 37, roughly 37.08 to 37.12.13 as a potential support area. This 37.27, with the recent highs being around 33 to 35, this is going to be an area that we watch. And if we are holding above it as we go into tomorrow, then there would be potential for upside. But just keep in mind that we are still in an overall bearish environment, and the market did get overextended to the upside. So a pullback is very normal. You went from the bottom of balance all the way up through the top of the short-term balance. So, a pullback is not necessarily a big deal. I think that as long as buyers can manage to hold the market, even above, probably even above these lows here, I think we'll be okay. So I think on the downside, we'll use roughly 37.07 to 37.16, 17 as short-term support. And, if the market is really strong, then it may end up holding even some of these higher prices. But I think on the downside, if we can hold now above even the 37.07 to 37.16 area, there would still be potential for a breakout attempt above today's high. And if we start breaking below 37.07, then that can bring the 36.86 to 36.93 area into play, where buyers can still be active. And if we start really pushing lower, then it would really put this entire breakout into question. So if we look at kind of overnight low to today's high, you can see that if we even got a pullback down towards this 82 area, that would just be a 50% retracement of this big upside move. And 65.75, which is the broken initial resistance zone, marks a 61.8. Now again, if the market is actually in a transition phase and control is shifting from sellers back to buyers, then ideally you don't get too big of a retracement. But given that we are still in this overall bearish environment, if we end up getting a little bit more of a retracement, that would be okay. It wouldn't be a huge deal. So you can see that if we look at the big swing from the recent highs, so far all we've really done is bounce back up in between the 38 to 50% area. So on the daily chart, when we look at swing high that really launched this move down, and we look at where we've been, it's still just a short-term bounce off a deeply oversold condition. And that's why we are going to have to continue to be nimble in this environment. There can be opportunities like today where the market ends up providing a very good long setup, but we are still in this overall bearish environment, and for that reason, as the market pushes higher, we are gonna have to be more aware of that intermediate term bias being bearish. Because if you push into a more significant zone, then you can still get a significant sell response in this market too. So, this is a market where you really have to be on top of things. You have to kind of understand that a short-term rally, whether it be like a relief rally or short covering or whatever, doesn't mean that the entire environment is completely changing. This long idea today was a short-term idea, right? So short term, yeah, I mean things. If we start breaking out, things could become neutral bullish. But for now, our short-term bias will remain neutral. And then once we get overextended to the upside, there could still be very good shorting opportunities in play as well. If we get extended to the upside, eventually there could be some really good shorting opportunities too, because we're still in that bigger picture and intermediate bearish environment. All right, guys, that is a wrap on today. Let me see if there are any questions that can be covered, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, I think that basically covers it. Thank you for attending. Again, I hope you guys all traded well. And as always, we will reconnect bright and early tomorrow morning. All right, guys, take care and enjoy the rest of your evening.